Okay, I'm back. Now we've chosen our box and we've decided what size it needs to be. And what I did was, after I made that first cut to make sure that my box was the right size, I used a ruler, I measured that cut, and from the flap, that cut measured 1.5 inches. So what I did was I went around the whole box, measured 1.5 inches on every corner, and marked it. And I put a little mark on there. And then what I need to do is fold it back. So to do that, I just used my square and I lined it up at each of those marks, and then I folded the flap back over it, and then just gave it a good press all along there. And I did that all the way around. I lined up my marks, folded it back, and gave it a good press. So now my box is going to be the size that I want it to be. Grab this in order for this to fit in here. And it's going to stick out just a little bit so that you'll be able to grab a hold of it. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape all of these flaps back. Now I have decided that I'm going to leave this 1.5 inches here, and I'm going to cut that. So I'm only going to tape back 3 sides and leave the bottom side untaped. Okay, so fold those back good. And I just use a tape gun. Yeah. Just put some tape on there. Make sure that you press it in tight. Of course, trying to do this under the tripod is a little bit, I'm not used to that. Okay, that's my third side. It's okay if it's wrinkled, because after you get these done, then you can decorate them up nice. There we go. Now the bottom flap I'm not going to take in. I'm just going to leave that out and go around. Made it all the way around. Press that down. And I'm going to go around one more time. And I've made, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have probably made 10 of these boxes. So I've done it, and I still sometimes make mistakes on my measurements. You know, if you make mistakes on your measurements, you just fix it. It's no big deal. It's a storage box. It's going to work for what you want it to work for. Once you decorate it up, nobody's ever going to see those problems. There we go. Okay, now what I'm going to do is, because I did that, we've got this extra here sticking out the back, and I don't want to take that space up anywhere. So I'm going to cut this off all the way around. And I have to go grab my scissors. I will be right back. Okay. Start at the bottom where it's open. That's the easiest place it will be to start. And I'm just going to go along this edge and just cut these off. Like I said, you're going to decorate it up, so, you know, if something's not totally perfect, that's totally okay. get rid of those. And this bottom flap, I don't want it that big. I'm going to take where I folded it, so I've just got that 1.5 inches, and I'm going to cut across there. No, not where I folded it. I'm going to take where the flap was folded. I folded it back here. Okay, so there we go. Now we've got the base for our storage box. And next we're going to cut the foam core to fit inside to make our shelves. Now what I do is, after I get these all done, I do normally get a board that's the size of my base, and I tape it on, I glue it on, and I tape it on. So that gives you enough sturdiness to hold that upright and just keeps everything, you know, because this is going to want to be a little bit tipsy. Yeah, see there, you can make it fall over. So, but I always do that at the very end after I'm all done putting this together. So now what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to measure for our foam core to find out how big it needs to be. And so the first thing that we're going to want to do is decide how big our shelves need to be. And so we're going to measure across our box, and our shelf will be the full width of the box. So this is 8.5 inches wide. And at the bottom, it's not quite. If I pull it out to 8.5 inches, that will work. So 8.5 inches is going to work. Actually, let's try this one more time. Yep, 8.5 inches. So we're going to make our shelves 8.5 inches wide. Now, for our depth, just start from the back. And our depth is going to be 3.5 inches. I only want the shelf to come to the edge of the box, even though our little things are a little bit wider than that, because I want to be able to reach in and grab these, so I don't want that shelf in the way. So we've got 8.5 inches by 3.5 inches. And I'm going to take a piece of my scrap and I'm going to write that down, because I'll forget it by the time I go to cut it. And that way I'll know that they'll all be the same. Now, I have my foam core board sitting here, and I'm going to measure that out. And I think that I'm going to need to adjust the tripod so that you can see how we do that. So now we've got our box ready, we've got our shelf size all measured, and I'm going to stop right here for a second. Be right back as soon as I adjust the camera so you can see what I'm doing. Thank you.